Hi everyone. Hello Facebook friends. It's Maria. I'm here for Lunchtime Live at the Tijuana River National Estuarine Research Reserve. Just standing outside the visitor center. I don't know if anyone is on yet. Let's see. Let's wait for our audience. As always, I try to sign in a couple minutes early in case there's anyone on early. If you're one of those early to arrive people, that could give me some feedback on the sound. Hi, Anne-Marie. How's the sound? I've got all my blue lights this week, so hopefully it's good. And cross your fingers, the helicopters don't seem to be flying today, at least right now. And we don't have a lot of wind as well either. I know there's always a delay. Good. Okay, the sound is good. Excellent. Well, hi everyone. We have a couple minutes, I think. One more minute till about noon. And I'm Maria. I'm standing here outside the visitor center of the Tijuana River National Estuarine Research Reserve, or Tijuana Estuary for short, here in Imperial Beach, California. We have a pretty loyal following for our Lunchtime Live program, but I hope, as I always do, that there is a new friend in today's broadcast. Hi Marc, how are ya? Glad you made it. And again, I'm standing here on a trail right outside the visitor center at the Tijuana Estuary. I will pan around and you can see, maybe you can see the top of the visitor center, that tower room poking up above that large salt bush. So you can see I'm close by on a trail that's not used a whole lot. It's not one of the main thoroughfares, but it is a trail that could affectionately be called, like many of our trails here, Lizard Lane. And Lizard Lane, why Lizard Lane? And that's because, especially this time of year, on a warm sunny day like it is today, there is an abundance of lizards, and more specifically the western fence lizard. The subject of today's Lunchtime Live: Scaloporus occidentalis, the western fence lizard. May be very recognizable for many of you in our audience today. Hi Sonia, thanks for joining us. But there it is, the western fence lizard. Maybe you've seen it on a fence or on a rock like this or along the trail. They're so common, they're quite common. And we're gonna learn a little bit more about them because they don't always look like this. Okay. So again, welcome to Lunchtime Live. If you have any questions, any comments related to the western fence lizard throughout the program, feel free to say something. There is always a delay, so I may take a minute for me to see your question or your comment, and I will do my best to respond. And if not, I'll come back later. And if you're joining us later, feel free as well. I come back and I add my comments in. So, Scaloporus occidentalis, the western fence lizard, a very common reptile here in San Diego, also affectionately known as a blue belly, and we will learn why in just a few minutes. Now, maybe give me a thumbs up if you've seen this lizard before. This is a spiny lizard. I have some other photos. Maybe it's tough to see, but there are, a scaly, spiny, so pointed scales on this lizard. I see some thumbs up. Yeah, this is a really common one. So maybe you didn't even know what you were looking at, and there's a variety. So we'll see some differences in some photos that I have. And by the way, I don't have a live specimen, but there are as I've been up here setting up, maybe 3 or 4 have come by. I mean, this is, like I said, Lizard Lane. And many of our trails are Lizard Lane, as maybe your backyard is Lizard Playground here in Southern California on a warm day. So this is a reptile that has a fairly large range. Northern Baja to all the way up into Oregon. But California is really its most popular, where you find them the most abundance of these is in California, but they do extend south of here as well as up in Oregon. The Scaloporus occidentalis. Now, this is a lizard about, gets to about 8 inches or so. Of course, we can see them in different sizes, kind of sandy in color. This one here you see has got a kind of a varied pattern of brown and black and white. Sometimes they have yellow spots that are faint on the side. And although this one is on a rock, these are great climbers. So you may actually see them on the fence, hence their common name. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if this is a female or not, but the males. Okay, the males have this blue bellies. Sorry, so that common name, also known as a blue belly, is really referring to the male. And this is what I'm talking about. Now this, I hope you can see this. I hope you can see this. This is a beautiful photo taken by one of our friends of the Tijuana Estuary, Marc Arndt. Thank you for this. And you see, I don't know if it's showing up on your screen, but you can see the sides of the blue from underneath. I don't know. I hope the camera is picking that up. But there is some blue here and a little blue on the throat. So this you'll see in the males. The females, thank you, Marc. The females and the juveniles don't exhibit that blue. Now we also see here, and maybe we can see the more scaly, spiny lizard scales on this one. You see this is also a dark phase. Okay, so there are different phases. I mean by phases, I mean colorations, patterns in the western fence lizard. So they can look really different. This is a dark phase. Also sometimes when they're cold, when they're thermoregulating, remember they're reptiles. So they're what we call cold-blooded, in a sense where they get their heat from their environment. So we see them in this warm time of the year. When they get cold, they can get really dark as well. So I've read, but there are dark phases. See that difference? See that difference? Getting again about 8 inches in a habitat similar to where I am, but it's actually quite varied. So I'm here in the coastal sage scrub, as you can see, with a sandy, dry trail. Very common environment to see them, okay? But they can be found in your backyard. They can be found in woodlands. They are very, very forested areas. And varied, I think up to even, I don't know, but I guess maybe even 10,000 feet. You know, of course, in the warmer times of the year. So very common, right? And like I said, California though is the heart of the range. I feel like San Diego is just, you know, is where they're at. They are, they're active during the day when it's warm, because they're reptiles. So we see them as the days warm up. Not so often in the winter, where they kind of go into like a hibernation. They call it, it's the word brumation. A brumation. It's like a hibernation. They're just more sluggish in the winter, right? All right, now what do they eat? These guys are carnivores. Ticks, mosquitoes, grasshoppers, anything. These are, you know, things that are found, you know, they're on the ground. They're great climbers and jumpers, but they're eating things on the ground. Are they egg layers? Yes. First let me just show you one thing. When they are on the ground, right? Okay, like I was talking about variation, I just want to get back at one more photo. I want to see, can you spot the western fence lizard? You probably can. But look at that, as I back up. Look at that camouflage. So they can camouflage. They have that ability to change, oops, sorry, their coloration. Right. The females are said to have more black, sort of horizontal striping. This might possibly be some of that. I'm not sure. I pulled this one off, I believe, a naturalist, and it didn't identify male or female. But that could also just be a male, unsure. All right. Okay, so females though, yes, they do lay eggs. I think about up to 8 in a nesting sort of period when they're breeding. Typically they breed or hatch, I should say, in August. Okay, they don't start until their 2nd year, and they live to be about 5 years or so. Now, like all reptiles or most lizards, they will drop their tail. I think one of these, no, I thought I forgot that photo. Showing you what once a western fence lizard has dropped its tail, what that tail regrowth looks like. It looks different. It's a little darker, less pattern. Okay, maybe you've seen it. You may see them without the tail when they've just lost it, and they will lose it in different places along the tail. So that's a defense of theirs. They will drop the tail will wiggle and when they can hopefully get away, and the predator is confused by the wiggling dropped tail. Now, who are their predators? There are other lizards, like alligator lizards, birds, maybe some mammals, but that's their main defense. But they do have the ability to bite. They have fast reflexes. Have you ever seen one? They move really fast, right? And you're trying to get a photo of one. So either they'll stop and freeze and camouflage, okay? But they're also pretty good at getting away. Okay? They even will defecate on their predators as well. That's another defense, I guess. I mean, that might send me running, right? I think it would. Let's see. Like I said, they mentioned they do. Let's see. Sorry, I was just reading some. There's a fun fact I didn't know about. I didn't memorize it, but I mentioned they eat ticks. They eat ticks. Well, in areas where there's Lyme disease, they're actually responsible for lowering. Hi, Christina. You must be on lunch. I'm so glad you made it. They're actually responsible for lowering the occurrence of Lyme disease, because when a tick actually feeds on the lizard, feeds on a western fence lizard and feeds on the blood, it actually somehow neutralizes the Lyme disease in that tick. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. So if a tick eats the blood of a western fence, then that tick no longer can carry Lyme disease. Pretty cool, fun fact. They are a little bit threatened, by habitat loss, as we lose this kind of natural scrub and shrub and trail, and we have more urbanization and concrete. I believe their feet, their toes have started to evolve slightly smaller, not needing quite as much grippage, so to speak. And then also, as the climate warms, their scales, which are used for protection, as well as to regulate like water loss. Okay, to keep their scales will actually grow in size and reduce in number, probably to increase the water loss ability as things get warmer. So, western fence lizard, okay, Scaloporus occidentalis. Scaloporus occidentalis. I just learned how to say that this morning. I wasn't sure where the placement on which syllable got the emphasis, so I took a poll, and 3 very educated individuals, staff, told me Scaloporus. Scaloporus, I like to say that. And there we see the blue, also known as blue belly. Western fences are blue bellies, and there's that blue belly. I hope you guys can see that shining through, or reflecting. It's right there. If not, I encourage you, look it up. It's really remarkable. Apparently there are other lizards that have blue bellies as well, but that's the male when it comes to the western fence lizard. And there it is in that really light sandy color, camouflaging good. Let's see, are supposed to be good. Yeah, yellow patches on the backs of the legs. Yep. Thank you, Mark, for pointing those out. And also, I believe on the sides as well. I had read yellow patches along the sides and there, but really hard to see that in some of these phases, right? So I don't know. I actually have a photo. I should have printed it myself. I don't think it's very clear where I came across 2 different phases of a western fence together, fighting. Oh, doing push-ups. Push-ups. Saving the best part for last. Push-ups. So when we see them scurrying along, right? But we also see them maybe in this position doing this, right? Those push-ups. Okay. Kids love it. It's always entertaining to watch. I've seen it 1,000 times. At least for me, it's entertaining. What's the reasoning for that? What's the reasoning for that? Well, there seems to be more than one. You know, part of it, defending a territory. Males defending a territory. Attracting a suitable mate. Here I am. I'm active. I'm strong, maybe. Here I am. Look at me. I'm doing push-ups. I'm available. And then also, I believe, for thermoregulation when a female is doing it. Yeah, and getting ripped, right? They gotta use those muscles, build those muscles in order to get away, just to get out of our opportunity to get a good picture of them. All right, so there we go, the Scaloporus occidentalis, the western fence lizard. There are some subspecies. A lot of times when I upload this to iNaturalist, I'll get someone come back saying it's a subspecies, the Great Basin. So maybe you'll find that in your research on the western fence lizard. The Great Basin is a subspecies. So, and I don't, sorry, my apologies, and I don't know the Latin name, but it's the Great Basin subspecies. So it's Scaloporus occidentalis, whatever. So, all right, and I was hoping one would maybe, not that you would be able to see it, cruise by while I was doing this, so they'll give me a little excitement, but I think I scared them all away when I set up, but there were a bunch. So to come down Tijuana Estuary, the trails are open. We actually announcement our visitor center will open next Wednesday, the 23rd, but the trails are open, and Lizard Lane abounds here at the Tijuana Estuary Visitor Center, and probably trails close to you if you spend time in our scrub and shrub, coastal sage scrub habitat here in Southern California, so in San Diego. All right, everyone, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, any more questions or comments, or if you have any great photos you want to share with us, feel free to put them in the comment section here. In this live stream, I always go back and check them out. So there you are, western fence lizard. See you next week.